Spooky season starts off with a whimper. Hey there, Cinephiles. Today I'm reviewing Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. Unfortunately, it is a sad day because how is the crumble tie-in cookie better than the actual movie? But before I get into my thoughts on exactly why I feel this way, let's touch on this fake feeling film. This legacy sequel, still directed by Tim Burton, follows Lydia Dietz many years later, as well as her daughter Astrid, as well as Beetlejuice, as well as 17 other plot lines that are going on in this film, all at the same time. I kid you not, in this hour and 40-minute runtime, there is so much going on. Way too much. I know there's about 5 writing credits to this, but my goodness, this feels like it was made by someone with major ADHD. And honestly, that was my biggest issue with the entire film. It felt so unfocused and scattershot. It's almost like they had so many ideas of where to go with this sequel, and yet they couldn't decide on really anything. So they thought the best way to make this was actually to make all of them and just combine it into one film. Because genuinely, there were moments that I feel like the editing just kind of skipped over certain scenes and just got on with it because they knew they couldn't make this movie too long. And yet it's because of those multiple storylines that this felt like it lasted forever. And what's really unfortunate is that I didn't really care about any of these storylines because they're either underdeveloped or they're extremely predictable. You know how crazy you have to be to make Beetlejuice a little bit forgettable due to the plentiful storylines that are going on in his own movie? And I saw the potential in the majority of these storylines, but my goodness, many of them never needed to see the light of day. On the way out of the theater, me and Bestie, who I took to this movie, ended up coming up with a much more streamlined and probably better film than what this was. And unfortunately for the both of us, this just ended up being disappointing. And personally for me, one of the bigger disappointments of the entire year. It's not an atrocious film by any means, but it's also just not good. Which sucks because that means that this won't be memorable and I'll forget that Beetlejuice has a sequel in about a week. And look, take what I'm saying here with a grain of salt because other people in my screening really liked the film. I heard many laughs and just so many other people actually enjoying their time. I just was not one of them. So in the end, I might just be one of the outliers who's really low on the film, but I guess it's worth checking out if you're really interested in seeing it. It just sucks because there are some new things in this film that I think are very much enjoyable, such as Willem Dafoe, Jenna Ortega, the baby, if you know, you know, and Bob. But everything that returns from the old film was just done so much better back then. Even the filmmaking that went into this film, it all just feels like it got downgraded a bit. And for as much charm as Willem Dafoe has, he could not fully save this movie. And again, shout out to Jenna Ortega. I just feel really bad for her because I felt like this should have been something to help her continue ascend to stardom. And again, shout out to that baby. You'll know what I'm talking about once you see it. And also shout out Bob, who might be my potential Halloween costume this year. We'll see. But getting back to kind of comparing this to the original, it's so weird how this movie deals with it being a legacy sequel. There's at times where you see them trying to do something new, trying to expand on the world and lore, and some of it kind of works. But then there's other times where you see the movie get scared at the newness of it, and it tries to revert back to what made the first one the first film by doing the exact same thing, just a lot worse. Or at the very least, when we're finally getting something that's actually really good, it just kind of falls flat at the end and it makes you not love the scene. I especially say this for the third act because it does get out there and pretty wacky, but then it just kind of, it flatlines. Again, this was a movie that I was definitely rooting for, as Beetlejuice is just one of my favorite Tim Burton movies and just one of the best movies to watch around this time of year. And so I was very much looking forward to this film because again, you had Willem Dafoe, you added Monica Bellucci, you added Jenna Ortega, and a lot of the original cast was coming back. And it's not that I'm the biggest Tim Burton fan in the world, but I thought it was very interesting that he was coming back to this, and now I find it much less interesting. This is something that exemplifies the meaning of curiosity killing the cat because my goodness, I'm just sad now. I was really hoping that this could be the year of legacy sequels, as Twisters was really good earlier this year, and this should have been also really good, but I do think this is going to be pretty forgettable even for most people who might end up loving it. It might just be one of those things that people have fun for like a week and then just kind of move on with the rest of their lives. And from what I see from projections, this may do very well at the box office, so we may get a Beetlejuice. Sorry for saying that 3 times in a row, but I don't know, it just, It's with a heavy heart that I say I give Beetlejuice a 2 out of 5 stars. Walking out of the theater, I was just very much left unimpressed. I was so excited for this vibrant and fun and charismatic horror comedy, but we didn't really get that. Instead, we get something that's just a hodgepodge of many ideas, and something that just left me wanting a lot better. But alright, those are my thoughts for Beetlejuice. Be sure to let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Also, let me know if you like this one more than the first, or if you prefer the first, which is definitely the right option. But as always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll watch you later.